Hello and welcome back to another episode of this week's watches, and as you can see on the table I have some awesome pieces from vintage to new to modern to neo-vintage to box and papers to watch only and everything in between. Now I do want to start this video off by saying what you hear is hay fever. It is not the C word, so do not panic, do not worry. I get it every single year. It hits me at pretty much the same time and I forget about it every single year. So when it comes around, I'm in shock that I've got it again, but here we are. So we're going to power through it. Now, just like every episode, I want to say a big thank you to every single one of you. You've been keeping me very busy and I really do appreciate it. Now, as of the time of you watching this video, it is Easter weekend. So there will be a delay to postages and packages going out because both the Friday and Monday, the trains aren't running as usual, and also Royal Mail isn't running as usual either. So there will be a short delay, so do forgive me for any delays on the post. But in regards to responses and everything like that, I will still be replying as per usual. I'll still be on the computer to your emails and everything like that, so do not panic. And as always, if you have a watch you would like to sell, go to our website, Kibble Watches, and go to the sell section and complete the form. It is very, very simple, and we will come back to you usually within 24 to 48 hours, and we will give you a buy it price if it's something we're interested in buying in, and we'll also give you a consignment price, which will be a bracket with our commission as well, so you can work out what you would walk away with and choose what option's best for you, or if we're just not right for you at all, and that's okay. You know, we get offered probably 10 to 15 watches every single day, so we have to be very selective with what we buy and at what prices as well, because obviously we don't have unlimited funds. But that all being said, I am excited to get into this drop because we have some weird and wonderful things and some very, very sort of run-of-the-mill classics like the Speedmaster, so let's dive into it. Now, to begin, I guess we should start with the classic on the table, the Omega Speedmaster. So starting with a classic, which to be honest, I probably don't even have to say anything about because everyone knows what this is, everyone knows the history of the Moon Watch. This is the awesome Omega Speedmaster Professional, Hesterlite crystal, solid back, pretty much the Moon Watch, not the Sapphire one. Really great watch, and actually a watch that my dad recently acquired. Shout out to him, getting his dream watch after selling his entire collection basically. And what a watch to get. Really, really cool. So this is actually a 2013 Omega Speedmaster Professional. The reference is 3570500. So this slightly predates the Moon Watch that just got discontinued, the 311 dot whatever it is. This is the one before that. Still comes on. It's a bracelet and everything like that. This one is with its full box and paperwork, as I said. So you get everything with it, and it is the smaller box, which for me personally is a far better thing, because that big box with all the medallion and everything, as cool as it is, it's very impractical, especially shipping wise and shipping costs. So this makes much more sense, and it's also one I just prefer. I don't really know why, I can't give my reasons, I just prefer this to that model. And the latest one is really cool, but again, I personally prefer this one. I think it's just the classic Moon Watch without going vintage, so that's the reason. Now, beating away inside this is the manually wound Omega Caliber 1861, a very reliable manually wound movement that they were using for many years based on a Lemania, so you can't really go wrong with it. As I said, it does come with its box and paperwork. It's from specifically March 2013, so there you go for any of you looking for March 2013, you've got it here. Now let's talk dimensions, because the Speedmaster is a watch that a lot of people break the rules for, and what I mean by that is most people say 38 to 40 mil is kind of the sweet spot, and this is a 42 mil watch. Now it's 42 mil by 48 mil lug to lug, and this is what I talk about. Lug to lug length is super important because it wears smaller than the dimensions will have you believe. So only 48 mil lug to lug, 15 mil thick and 20 mil lugs. Classic proportions, it wears super well, it wears big but without being sort of obtrusive, and it just looks really good on the wrist. Now this will also come with a black suede strap, which I think suits the watch perfectly, and if I was owning the Speedmaster, I personally would wear it on the strap all the time because I like the bracelet, I think it goes really well with the design, but for me this watch just looks great on a strap. So go check it out on the website and get yourself a really good deal. From there, keeping it classic but slightly different, the TAG Heuer Carrera chronograph. From one classic to another, this is the TAG Heuer Carrera, and not just any Carrera. This is basically the re-edition of the original. You can see you've got the beautiful white dial with the blue in the chapter ring. That just works so well. That colour combination is always a classic. It will always work and it will always look good. And this is just a really nice example, really clean. As you can see, it's still got a sticker on its back. It's on its Tag Heuer. It's on a strap with the Tag Heuer buckle, as you can see, really good condition. It does come with its box and paperwork. Unfortunately, the guarantee is unsigned, so it's just unsigned papers. Not uncommon. I mean, we still see it today from retailers, especially with brands like Seiko and things. They just don't bother signing it. It's all based on the retailer and the person who sold you the watch at that time. Now, this watch is from 2008 or circa 2008, because obviously we don't have signed paperwork, so we don't know exactly, but it's from that sort of period. And the reference is CV2110-0, and inside is the automatic Heuer caliber or Tag Heuer caliber 17, a really reliable and good movement that you can't really go wrong with. Design wise, it's perfect. I mean, you've got those nice lugs, nice pump pusher, chronograph buttons, and everything just really works. It really does remind you of a vintage Heuer, which is what I think they got really spot on with this watch. Now let's talk dimensions, which is where this watch shines even brighter. It is 38.5mm by 46mm lug to lug. 38.5mm in a chronograph is perfect. I absolutely love it. Granted, we were looking at a Speedmaster just before, which is 42mm, but it wears well for its size. Whereas this, I feel like anyone can wear, him or her. 13.5mm thick and 19mm lugs, so a little bit awkward on the lug size, but not the end of the world. You can see we've got it paired on this black rally strap. Looks really good, but a really beautiful design and a really good price for what you get, so go check it out. Whilst we're on Tag Heuer, let's stick to it, but go over to the Heuer ReEdition. Next up is a watch you may have never seen before, and neither had I until this came on my desk. A really cool watch. So this is actually a Heuer Carrera GMT, based on a 1964 model, as they've called it, a ReEdition. The reference is WS2113, and it is a really well designed, really nice proportioned, and we'll get to that in a minute, GMT. You can see you've got your GMT in your hand there, nice black dial, Heuer sound crown, really clean and simple caseback with a Heuer buckle as well. And it comes from a time where Heuer and Tag were doing some interesting things. They were trying out the ReEditions. They were one of the early brands to do it. And this is from 1999 or around that sort of period, so just over 20 years old now, and a really gorgeous watch. And that's actually a Hesselite crystal, so plastic, as you can see, so you can polish it up and everything like that. But again, they really just nailed the design on this, and that says a lot from a brand like Tag Heuer. You know, they've done a lot of things that aren't so good, and the watch we'll show you next, the Monaco, you may think that is one of them, but this is a really good design, and I think everyone can agree. Now, as we said, circa 1999, we're not sure the exact date, but it's definitely around that sort of period. It does come with its Heuer Classics box, but no paperwork, and inside is an ETA 2893-2, a very classic GMT movement that a lot of brands, especially around this sort of period and even today, use, because it's just sort of a workhorse GMT movement. Now, I spoke a lot about proportions when talking about this watch and how it's classic and everything like that, but let's talk about it. It is 35mm by 44mm, really beautiful size, great on wrist, and I don't actually know of any other brand who's done a vintage ReEdition GMT like this. And done it so well. It's only 11mm thick and 18mm lugs. Got it paired on this nice black strap, which just really works with it. Really clean design, really clean overall, and a really good purchase, especially when you go see the price. And I mean, it's gonna surprise some of you. From there, we have to go to this pretty awesome and crazy Tag Heuer Monaco. If there was ever a Marmite watch, I have found it. This is the one. For those of you who don't live in the UK and don't know what Marmite is, it's basically a yeast spread that tastes horrible. And I don't know why people like it, but that's the point. Some people really like it, some people don't. And this watch is exactly like that. Some people are going to absolutely love it, and other people really aren't. And I've got to be honest, I am very much on the fence. I actually don't know. Sometimes I really love it. Sometimes I think, what on earth is this? But you know what? It is cool, and it is not a lot of money for what you get when you consider everything, which is why we are stocking it. And you know, at the end of the day, we stock unusual. And if this doesn't tick that box of unusual, I don't know what does. But this is a Tag Heuer Monaco. As you can see, automatic with the brown dial. You can see it's got the texture down the middle, and it actually has diamond indices. The dial is really beautiful, and the diamond indices are actually done really well. There's no question about that. You can see the case has been professionally refinished. We've had it done so it looks pretty much brand new. The finishing is really good, even on the clasp. And yes, you can see that is an automatic caliber inside. This is the automatic Tag Heuer Caliber 5, which is basically an ETA. It doesn't come with any box or paperwork, but it does come with a Tag Heuer service box and its receipt for the strap. So let's talk about the strap. You might be looking at it like, what on earth is that? Now this is OEM. This is actually what Tag Heuer intended to be on this watch. It is a Python strap. So that is genuine Python on this watch, and that is a brand new strap. So there you go, and you'll see the receipt. I think the strap was nearly £300 alone just for the strap. So when you consider all that, the fact it's been polished up and it looks brand new, I think you're getting a hell of a deal for this. Now, what is the reference? It's a long one, this, so it's WW2116.FC6217. I said the caliber inside was the caliber 5, I meant caliber 6, sorry, which is the sub-seconds, and it's from around 2006, so that's sort of the date period you get on this. And let's talk dimensions. Now, you can see it here on wrist. It doesn't look small. It's quite a big watch, and it's not a ladies' watch. This is actually, it would have been classified as a gents, but it could very well be unisex, especially with this design. 37mm by 43.5mm lug to lug. Now, thanks to the square case, it wears a lot bigger. It wears more like a 40mm watch. 13mm thick and 22mm lugs. So if you absolutely dislike this Python strap, do not worry. You can put a different strap on it and you will be fine and good to go. But go check it out, see the photo, see the description. It might surprise you. But either way, it is funky, and that is what we like. From there, let's go all the way to vintage with this beautiful Tudor with its box and papers. Here we are, our first vintage watch of this week's drop. It is a Tudor Oyster Royal, a really, really gorgeous and stunning piece. Original dial, as you can see, original handset. The hands have been reloomed and the dial hasn't. More than likely, this was done on request by whoever owned this watch, as they probably actually wanted the loom to work and be luminescent, which comes as a surprise to most collectors, because we want originality. But when it comes to restoring, which is what happened to the hands here, we often scoff at it, whereas actual usability wise, it makes sense to get it restored. So that's just the honest truth there. The hands are redone, but well redone, as you can see. And the dial does have some staining in the middle, which is just original. It's nice, it's honest, it's got its original Rolex screwed down crown, Rolex caseback, and as you can see, it's got the reference there, which is 7903, which makes this the 32mm Tudor Oyster, which we'll get onto in a minute. Now, as I said at the start, it comes with its box and paperwork. So here's the gorgeous box. I thought I'd show it on camera here. You can see Tudor by Rolex Geneva. Very, very nice. Now, let's get onto the paperwork, because we can't definitively say the paperwork's for the watch. The reason being, when we turn to the page that's signed, you can see the number stated is 5007, and it's December 24th, 1965. Now, could this watch be 1965? Well, based on the serial, which is very late, 126,000, it very well could be 1965, and we're calling it 1965. Now, the reason we can't say definitively that this paperwork is for this watch is because the numbers don't match. Have I seen this before? 100%. And 5007 doesn't actually match up to any Tudor or Rolex watch. So that number doesn't match up to any Rolex watch, any sort of movement number or anything like that. So it wasn't a Rolex thing anyway, or a Tudor thing. What it could very well be, and I've seen this before, and I've seen it actually still done to this day, is a internal reference of the retailer. Now, whatever this retailer was, as you can see here, this may have been their internal reference. Now, why would they do that? Well, maybe it's just a new person who's wrote down that reference instead of the reference of the watch. I've had paperwork which are definitely for the watch that haven't had the correct numbers on them either. We see paperwork that's not even signed. As you saw, we just had it with the Tag Heuer we had in this drop. So it happens. So I personally believe the paperwork could be for the watch, but I can't say definitively. So we have to put that disclaimer out there. And there's that disclaimer for you guys and girls. So make up your own mind. Either way, it's cool to have, regardless of whether it is for it or not. You know, this is an original vintage Rolex booklet with the paperwork at the back where they can fill out the service records, and it's got everything in here, which is kind of cool. So yeah, now let's talk dimensions. Anyone who has owned an Oyster case watch from Rolex or Tudor will know they wear bigger than the dimensions, ever so slightly, and they wear really well. This is 32mm by 39mm lug to lug. That's going to put some people off straight away. Fair enough, it's not for you, but don't be put off by the size. I'd say give it a chance. Wears more like a 34mm watch. Only 10mm thick and 17mm lugs. We've got it paired on this grey suede strap, as you can see, which I think goes really well with it. But either way, there are millions of strap options out there, so don't let the strap be the thing that holds you back. But go check it out in more detail on the website, see what you think. And yeah, it's a fair price for what you get. We may as well stick to vintage and go to our Longines. The next vintage piece, as you can see, a really gorgeous Longines. This is an automatic Ultrachron. The reference is 7951-1, and it's got that crosshair dial. You can see it's got the Ultrachron logo down there at the bottom, and the nice surround of the dates, which actually flares out, so it goes with the design. A really beautiful piece, and the bezel is almost concaved, kind of like a Rado we had a while ago, but not quite as prominent. You can see it's got its original Longines crown and case back and everything like that. Really nice, and the size of this is what's going to surprise people. We'll talk more about it later, but real quickly, it's 37.5mm in case size. A really good design. And the serial number dates this watch to circa 1967. So a nice early piece as well, especially for that kind of size. This would have definitely been considered a large watch at the time. Whilst today we look at 37.5mm as quite a small watch, it definitely wasn't back then. And you can see in its original condition, it looks great. Now inside this is the Longines caliber 431, a very reliable automatic caliber, which we've had service, and obviously it comes with our warranty as well. Now let's finish talking about dimensions, considering we started with them. 37.5mm by 42mm look to lug, a really great size on wrist, and it looks absolutely incredible, especially for a vintage watch, and from such a great brand like Longines as well. It's only 10mm thick and 18mm lug, so endless options there. It sits nice and low on the wrist for its size, so you can't really go wrong. But go check it out in more detail, especially some close-ups of that original dial, which is in really nice condition. Now we're left with two great affordable watches. Let's have a look at the Christopher Ward. Now for a watch I have really liked myself for a long time, and you can see why. I mean, what a cool design. Granted, it's based on, or very closely resembles, the Rolex Explorer, to specifically the vintage Steve McQueen, as they call it, which Steve McQueen actually never wore, but anyway, that's a story for another time. A really cool watch and a very gorgeous piece, and I'm hoping to do a comparison between this and the Steinhardt, because I also owned a Steinhardt in the past, which also resembles this, so I'm going to be comparing the two, so keep an eye out for that, hopefully coming soon. Now this is the Christopher Ward C65 Trident GMT, as they call it. I've nicknamed it the Steve McQueen, as you can see why. I think it's really cool. A really nice piece. Now, the beaten away inside here is the automatic Sellita SW330, a very good and reliable GMT movement, and it's from August 2018. It does come with its full box and paperwork and all of its spare links as well, and a really nicely designed bracelet, which actually has a ratcheting extension, as you can see, and you can do that on the fly, which makes it super easy and super comfortable, because you can get pretty much any wrist size you need. Now let's talk dimensions, and I think they absolutely nailed this one, and this is where this watch is far superior to the Steinhardt in my opinion. It is 41mm by 47mm lug to lug, only 12mm thick and 22mm lugs. It wears super thin on the wrist, and the Steinhardt was quite thick, but we'll leave all that for the comparison video, which hopefully I'll get done. But really good on the wrist. I wouldn't be afraid of the size if you think 41 sounds too big. I have small wrists and I prefer small watches, yet this wears really well, so go check it out. And last but certainly not least, the Hamilton Khaki Field. So a Christopher Ward that came out not too long ago. I had one of the original ones with the black dial and the steel case. I even did a few videos on that, so go check it out. But this is the all black, so completely stealth version of the Khaki Field Mechanical. The reference to this one is a long reference, so go check it out on the website if you would like. And the caliber inside here is the Hamilton manually wound caliber H50, which is their extended power reserve, I believe, of 80 hours. So a nice long power reserve, and it's running very well. And this one is from January 2020, and it does come with its box and papers, so you've still got a fair while left on that guarantee. And we back it with a 12-month warranty beyond, like if the manufacturer warranty ends before 12 months, we back the rest of it up until 12 months. Hopefully that makes sense. And let's show it here on wrist. As we're getting more sun, I feel like this watch would make a really cool summer watch. The all stealth black look, I think, looks pretty cool. But anyway, 38mm by 47mm lug to lug, a really good size, and that's one thing they've always got well, as it flew off my wrist. Let's put it back on, there we go. And 9.5mm thick, so under 10mm thick, We're super low, thankfully, and it does come on a NATO, so that adds a little bit of thickness, but obviously you can swap that out for a strap if you wish. And the lugs are 20mm, so nice wide lugs for a smaller cased watch at 38mm, so it makes it wear very well. And this strap gives the presence of a bigger watch, even though it isn't. So go check it out on the website for all the more details, and you won't be disappointed. So there you have it, guys and girls. That is this week's drop. 8 watches for you guys, so go check them out on the website. As always, in the description is a link and then a timestamp to skip to the specific part. I know I'm saying this after we've done the video, so we probably should have said that before, but I think you guys and girls know the drill by now. There were a couple of other watches that didn't quite make it because they sold beforehand, and as always, I say it every single episode, make sure you're following on Instagram at Kibble Watches. We showcase all the watches before they come in, and including the what's on my wrist, which I forgot to do at the start of the video again. I'm very foggy, so please do forgive me, but let's do it now right at the end of the video, so it's sort of a reward for you watching. It is a gorgeous Nomos Club Neomatic automatic, really cool. I'll put everything up on screen. This is coming soon, but for now I think I'm going to enjoy it for a little bit, so don't tell anyone. But really stunning piece, massively underrated. I can't wait to bring this to market, but let's see if it survives and comes to the next one before it sells. But yeah, make sure you follow it on Instagram. We showcase everything like this way before it even goes on the website, so you get a good chance of getting it at a very good price as well. So there you have it. That is it. We look forward to seeing you in the next one. Take care, look after yourself, and remember, get your antihistamines. It's really important. All right, see you soon.